Well, would you look at that? There I was, hard at work writing a video about the Switch successor, and then suddenly Nintendo decides to release news about the Switch successor. Thanks to that, I now need to change my script. But since I obviously am some kind of prophet, my next video will be about me becoming fabulously wealthy. Anyway, as we all know, the Switch successor is on the way, and thanks to that latest news from Nintendo, we now know roughly when we can get our peepers on it. From here, I was supposed to segue into a speech about how little we know, or when we'll get to know more, and then I'd go into how much fun it would be to make a speculation video on the whole thing, but then Nintendo did, I'm grateful for the information, Nintendo, but anyway, here's a video about what I'd like to see in the Switch successor. Backwards compatibility. People love backwards compatibility, and why wouldn't they? Companies get to keep making money from older titles, and players get to use their older purchases on newer hardware without issue. Everybody wins! For me, the Switch successor would become that much more palatable if considerations to rehome the last generation library were on the table. I could see this happening if the Switch 2 featured another card slot, kind of like how it worked between the DS and the 3DS with this little thing over here for the newer cards. You know, that thing, this little thing right here. And really, when you think about it, having backwards compatible options is a very handy selling point for early adopters if your launch library is a little lacking. There's too many L's. Another thing involving backwards compatibility that I would love to see are updates to the NSO library. Further investment into development to boost the accuracy while also adding more games and emulators to the mix would be amazing. That said, if Nintendo did add more emulators, it might require a separate way of managing the file delivery. If I recall correctly, the current emulators on NSO download every game onto your Switch, whether you want them or not. Now imagine a GameCube emulator doing the same thing with chunkier files. You see the problem? I propose a refreshing return to the virtual machine where people can purchase the games they want to play separately for a reasonable price, Nintendo! Not $40 for Aquaman Battle for Atlantis, please! Maybe offer a couple of dollars off each game for NSO subscribers to sweeten the deal too. I can't say that I've been a big fan of how emulation was handled on the Switch. I appreciate having a legal way to play these games, but I think we need either frequent and larger drops, or a return to the virtual machine so I can grab the games that I personally want to own. Next on my list of things that I would like to see is similar design to the Switch. If it ain't broke, do not fix it. There are effective ways to improve the design of the current Switch and enhance it for a newer device. But aside from fixing the known issues facing the current models, I don't think there's much you can do to change the design. It's a tablet with handles attached to it. I've seen third-party accessories that try to customize the experience for the user. And don't get me wrong, a lot of these things are unique and perfect for somebody out there, but to me they always miss the point or fail to account for the different ways you hold a Joy-Con. I guess the console and screen could be a fraction bigger with upgrades to Joy-Cons that would prevent hardware issues from occurring as often as they did with the original models. We'll get into that later. But overall, I think the design of the console itself is goated and does not need a massive change aside from quality of life upgrades. There is one thing I would like to see change though, and that's the dock. If the successor features any kind of dock, a smaller dock would be interesting, something like the Steam Deck dock. The Steam Deck dock, that is a weird thing to say. But a closer or more relevant example would be the stand for the Wii U pad. While writing this video, I put my Switch into that stand just to see how it looked, and I think it could work nicely if Nintendo wanted to reduce the size of the dock. But again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Next up in my list of entitled statements might be a controversial one depending on who you are. 4K is not a requirement. Yeah, I'm one of those people, but let me explain myself on this, please. I do not believe 4K is an essential or required upgrade for the next console to succeed. I would have little against it if Nintendo does go in that direction, but I do not believe it is a hard requirement. At minimum, I expect the next console to output 1080p with stable frame rates at either 30 or 60 FPS depending on the game. That is my minimum expectation, and one that I would be happy with. Looking back on that weird time in recent history where we all had to stay indoors because of the the Nintendo Switch skyrocketed in popularity. This was because at the time, the Switch was the most available and cheapest compared to the competition. I worry that if the next console goes from being something humble to a handheld beast, that we might have a beastly entry fee to match. Of course, I fully expect the price to be higher this time around, but I'm not sure it needs any help with that. The Switch delivered quality and it worked with what it had. I can't say that every game plays like buttery goodness, but I don't think it's that bad. But I could be coming from a place of ignorance and I'm very happy for people to correct me. So, to quickly sum that up, I would like the next Switch to be 1080p with stable frame rates, but if it's anything higher than that, I'm all for it, just don't think it's a requirement. And with that, on the 12th day of Direct, Nintendo gave to me exceptional launch titles, or 3. Having backwards compatibility with the current Switch and established games on the NSO library will help on launch day, but it'll only take it so far. We need day one bangers, and I hope Nintendo is calling in every studio they can to deliver something incredible on day one. We need the presence of both big and small IPs here, as well as indie titles ready to serve good eating between the main courses. In fact, supporting indie devs is good. Supporting any dev is good. They seem to be getting shafted a lot these days. I wouldn't mind a re-release or two thrown into the mix, like a fan-favorite Zelda such as The Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, but I would hope that day one is not reliant on re-releases and performance boosts for older games. If I had to guess, Nintendo has more than enough up their sleeves in preparation for this. It's a long shot, but I'm hoping that Metroid Prime 4 is among those launch titles. Those Prime fans have been waiting a little too long. Like I said in my last video, I am not familiar with Nintendo's heavy hitters, and admittedly I have a surface level view of their games right now, but it's my hope that there's at least one game catered to all kinds of players. I'm sure there'll be a new Mario, a new Animal Crossing, something Zelda related, etc., and I'm looking forward to seeing what Nintendo will make specifically to highlight the features of the console. Like a tech demo that you can pay for. Maybe not. Customizable UI. I enjoy my Switch, but this UI design, I do not like it. I don't like how bland it looks, I don't like how minimal it is, and I don't like how I can only create folders in this area instead of on the main menu. It's so bizarre because looking back at older consoles, their menu designs had such a unique vibe. The Wii menu was creative, the 3DS menu was creative, the Wii U menu was creative, and then there's just... it's completely dry. It's the Sahara Desert of UI design. I admit, it is easy to do anything you want within the push of a button or two. That much is designed brilliantly. But did you really have to take the sauce out of the burger, Nintendo? If I had my way, I would push for a unique profile system. Nothing crazy, just enough to show your friends what kind of games you're into. I would push for custom folders on the main menu. Got multiple Zelda games? Into the Zelda folder they go. I would love it if we could upload custom images into our console to make tiles and folders really unique. I would push for greater customization options for NSO game libraries, custom pack art that you can resize according to your preferences. I know we kind of have that right now, but I would like it to be a bit more robust. I would push for the option to select your own background image, maybe a screenshot you took, or something that you could unlock with your platinum points in missions and rewards. Since the Switch's UI design is so basic, I don't think it would be too difficult for Nintendo to spruce up the design while also making it faster to use. That said, I would like to move past this onto my last point, which is... drumroll please. Joy-Cons need a tune-up! These things need an upgrade. I cannot say that I've had any trouble with my own, but the amount of people I have met who have struggled with flimsy build quality or stick drift is alarming, and that's before you consider the sheer volume of complaints online about these things. Nintendo, these controllers can cost up to $80. You need to start building them like they're worth that price, because as of right now, replacement Joy-Con prices are insulting for what they are. You could argue that you're getting two controllers for the price, but that doesn't justify the quality to me. I feel like the only reason I've avoided experiencing issues like this is because I play with a Pro controller, so my built-in Joy-Cons usually just gather dust. Nintendo knows their console is more family-focused than the competition, and so they know that these controllers will be in the hands of children. They shouldn't be this flimsy, I'm sorry. Get these things upgraded and built with strength. please. And that's it. I could think of more things to add to this list, but I don't like the idea of my videos dragging on for too long. Besides, it's more fun to interact with people in the comments who share their opinions. So, let me know what you think. Did you agree with anything that I said, or did I miss the mark completely for you? And definitely know, I'm excited to see where Nintendo takes this, and you better believe I'll be watching that event in June. And who knows, if people want to see it, I may stream with my weird 1000-yard stare 2D avatar. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.